angel, so strong, even in struggle, yeah. When life comes like a storm from every angle, she rises above it all, the backbone of every home. Nothing compares to all she do. The true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah. Where would we be without you? You brought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama. Yeah, and Jesus too. Oh, she's sophisticated, strong, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful, educated, ebony, eccentric, empowering. She's a queen, she's a queen. You better treat her like a queen. Oh, oh, Her strength is amazing. Life inside, 9 months she's carrying back to work, 'cause the family she's carrying. Society don't give her just due, but she prevails and stands tall. A champion, a true woman. But nothing compares to all she do. Yeah, the true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah, oh. And where would we be without you? Yeah, you brought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama, and Jesus too. Oh, she is sophisticated, strong, yeah, simply amazing, humble, honest.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk with Bishop R.C. Blakes. R.C. is an author, empowerment teacher, and the proud pastor of the New Home Ministries of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Houston, Texas. His message circles the globe. His conversational and candid approach to challenging content makes him a relevant voice to all generations. Get ready for a life-changing transformational conversation.
Well, hello. This is R.C. Blakes, and I am so excited to be able to share with you once again. Now, I need you to, you know the drill. I need you to invite someone else to come in and to be a part of this conversation today. I wanted to just kind of shift gears because I want to deal more today with the empowerment of a woman's queen consciousness. So I want to talk today about the formula. I couldn't find a more fancy way of saying it, so I just went straight for it. The formula for queens to level up. Because the one thing about a woman with queen consciousness is that she's always leveling up. She's exhausting her potential, and then she's moving into the next level or dimension. She levels up in that dimension. She exhausts all of that potential. Then she moves up once again. That is, I believe, the distinguishing factor between women who are queen conscious versus women who are not. And so if you go to Proverbs 31, verses 29 through 31, it says, "Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all." What? Many daughters, many women have done wonderful things. This is a woman's husband talking to her. But thou excellest them all. Verse 30 says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord shall be praised or celebrated. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. In other words, this is a woman that has found the formula to constantly level up. And so I want to share this with you today. Maybe you're a woman and everything for a queen conscious woman, everything is not about how I can get a man, how I can get a man to behave properly. Everything's not about that. And I do understand that relationships are very, very important to all of us. And it's probably our most thought about aspect of life. But for queen conscious women are always consumed with, how do I become the best version of myself? How do I level up? In fact, about it, one of the ways queen conscious women attract king conscious men is that queen conscious women actualize their potential. And they become all that God has created them to be. And therefore, they attract what God has designed for them. There's no desperation for a relationship because the woman is too busy leveling up. Utilizing, in many cases, the strategies that I'm getting ready to share with you now. Invite someone to come into this discussion. It's going to be good. Well, let's jump in. How does a queen conscious woman, what is the formula for a queen to level up? Number one, you must upgrade your environment. Every time a person, really not just a woman, if the brothers are listening, all of these principles are applicable to you as well. Every time a person desires to level up, there has to be an upgrade in environment. In other words, you have to put yourself in an environment that stresses you, maybe stretches you, discomforts you. You have to step outside of your comfort zone, and you have to upgrade your environment to a place where you got to move from. It's kind of like when I was a kid, I used to love, my father would bring me, until today I still love steaks. They just don't necessarily love me back at this age. But I've always been a lover of steaks. And my father would bring me to a restaurant called Sizzler. Some of you might remember that from the United States especially. And man, I just thought those steaks were amazing. You know what I mean? If you ordered it rare, medium, or well done, they would put a certain little plastic thing in there indicating the one that is well versus medium versus whatever. And I thought those steaks were amazing. Well, one day my father upgraded the environment, and he brought me to a restaurant that originated in New Orleans, Louisiana, and is now all around the world. I've gone to this restaurant in different parts of the world, Ruth Chris Steakhouse. And now you're talking about a 5-star experience. And once the environment was upgraded, and I went to Chris Steakhouse, I could no longer. I could settle for Sizzler, but I was never really as enthused about Sizzler because my environment had been upgraded. Whenever you're desiring as a woman to level up, you have to understand You cannot level up on the same level. You have to go to the next environment. The journey starts with changing your environment. You see, you can only fly with eagles at their altitude. So the first thing you have to do is you have to change your environment. There are too many of us that want to go and we want to fulfill all of our potential and we want to realize or actualize everything that God's put in us and we want to realize our destiny, but we want to do it in our present environment. And your destiny and your present environment are not aligned. They do not match. If you're going to go and if you're going to really possess the land of destiny, you're going to have to be a woman that is intentional about upgrading your environment. You know, when you read the story of Queen Esther, the first thing that happened with Esther was that she had to, she had to move once, she was selected as a potential for the king, a potential to be the next queen. She had to move. They had to move her to an exclusive environment. She could not be prepared for the crown and stay in the house with Mordecai. She had to be moved to quarters somewhere in the palace where she had royal handlers that would put her in the environment of royalty, because you cannot step into royalty if you've not first upgraded your environment to royalty. If you go to Esther chapter 2, verses 7 through 9, it says, and he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. That's her, her name in Hebrew, Hadassah, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. So she had to be brought to a certain environment to be prepared to step into royalty. You see, you can't just want more without changing your environment as a woman. We are always the product of our environment to a greater or lesser degree. Your environment is always going to have an impact on the way you think, the way you behave, the way you see yourself, the way you love yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you allow other people to treat you. If you don't upgrade your environment, you will never upgrade your life. There are too many of you that want to, you talk this, I want to soar with eagles talk, but your environment is at pigeon level. If you really want to level up, you're going to have to change your environment. You can't just continue to go to the club and then keep coming back here typing in the comments, ain't no good men out here. Where are you flying? Where are you flying? You keep fishing in the same pond and keep complaining about, you keep catching the same thing. You cannot upgrade your life until you first upgrade your environment. I was sitting at the table today with some of my sons, and the question, spiritual sons, and the question was asked, we were having this conversation really about some of these principles I'm sharing with you now. And the question was asked, when does a person know when it's time to level up environments or to change environments, that you need to move to a greater environment? And the answer came back from one of my sons, which was brilliant. He said, the answer was, you know that it's time to change environments when you are in an environment where you're always the smartest one in the room. Where in this environment, you're always the one doing the teaching. You're always the one doing the inspiring. There's nothing wrong with that. But all of us need environments that require us to learn from others, that require us to be taught by others, that require us to be inspired by others. Every queen conscious woman that levels her life up, if you pay attention to it, she always increases, she always pushes the limits of her environment. She upgrades her environment. If you look in Proverbs 28:11, it says, I love this text. It says, the rich man is wise in his own conceit, but the poor man that hath understanding searcheth him out. Now, what is that text saying? It's saying that, rich people many times assume that they know everything. They're know-it-alls, and they talk like nobody else in the room, has any brains, or nobody knows anything but me. But I like the way the text says, the poor man that hath understanding searcheth him out. Now, the poor man may peep the fact that the rich man operates in his conceit. But the poor man will comb through all of the narcissism, the conceit, to get the principles that the rich man has or has applied to become a rich man. So what does it mean? It means that the poor man, the rich man doesn't come to the poor man. The poor man has to upgrade his environment and move into the uncomfortable environment of the rich man, because it's in that environment that the poor man's condition is going to ultimately be changed. Some of the things, and I want you to hear this, some of the things God has for you will never manifest on your current level. You keep trying to make it happen on this level because you hate the idea of, going to the next level and leaving your friends, or shifting your environment and leaving your friends, leaving your family. There's a reason God told Abram to, leave your family and your kindred and come onto this place I'm trying to bring you. Because you have to make up a mind. You make up your mind, rather. Do you love you and your future and your destiny more than you love your connection to people who are married at your previous level? Are you going to relegate yourself a prisoner to underachievement because you don't want to leave people who don't have the capacity, or maybe don't have the desire to go to the next environment? If you're going to ever upgrade your life, if you're ever going to level up your life, rather, you're going to have to upgrade your environment. And sometimes that means coming to terms with the fact that you're going to have to put yourself in environments where you're going to have to even build new friendships. Now, number two. Once you upgrade your environment, here's main point number two. The elevated environments always lead to next level associations. Well, let me go back to number one. Well, what do you mean by you need to change the restaurants you go to? You know what I'm saying? You need to change your hobbies. You need to put yourself in places where certain kinds of people are. You know, there are a lot of y'all. All you do is you go to the club, you go to church. You go to the club, you go to church. And a lot of times the same people is in the club, in the church, and you wondering why you can't make new friendships on the next level. You should be going to political events. You should be going to, you're trying to figure things, especially if you're single, you're trying to find the right kind of husband and all of that kind of thing. You need to become a part of some social clubs. You can't stay home, eating all this stuff, watching TV, going to church, going to work, going to the club, and then keep wondering every year why you can't meet a certain kind of man. You're spinning your wheels in the same environment. This environment does not produce. You know what I'm saying? See, you don't go to Alaska looking for collard greens to grow. You got to go to Mississippi. If you want certain things to produce in your life, you have to get into environments that are conducive for the growth of those things. Now, just think more about that. Now, main point number 2, elevated environments always lead to next level associations. You see, the upgraded environment will automatically elevate your associations. In other words, the people you're rubbing shoulders with. Some of these people will become acquaintances. Some of these people will just become connections. Some of these people will become real friends. But these are friends on the next level. I remember one year, man, I was sitting and thinking about, this saying that we have, it's lonely at the top. And Holy Spirit stopped me and said, don't ever say that again. He said, it's only lonely between levels. He says, when you're shifting from your lower level and you get into those clouds, you're shifting from pigeon level and you're in those clouds and you're moving, to a level, ego level that's above the clouds. He says it feels lonely in the clouds because you can't see anything or anyone else. But once you break through those clouds, there are eagles awaiting your arrival on that level. Elevated environments always lead to next level associations. You see, you can always drop down below the clouds and go back and visit the pigeons if you desire to do so. But it's kind of hard to go back to pigeons when you've, rubbed shoulders with eagles. But, sometimes we have pigeons we love. We got to go back and visit our little pigeons, but then we got to go back through the clouds and get back on the level where we belong, where the air is fresher. Because the upgraded environment automatically elevates your associations. When you go where queens and kings reside, you connect with a different quality of person, and not quality in the sense of one person being better than the other, but quality in the sense of one person actualizing more than the other. One person being a resource where another person is a liability. One person being an asset, rather, where another is a liability. When you elevate your environment, it always brings you when you go where kings and queens reside, you connect with a different quality of people. So you must change the environment to contact better connections. Back to those of y'all that's constantly complaining about ain't no good men out here. Ain't no good men in the little places you flying around. But I forget who said it, but it was a powerful saying. A lot of y'all talking about no good men out here, ain't no good men in the world. You've been in the same little spot for the last 35, 40, 50 years. A lot of y'all watching me right now don't know when's the last time. I forget who said this, but this is brilliant, but it's not mine. You don't know when's the last time you did something for the first time. That's how stagnant your life is. You've been stuck on the same level all of your life. You must change the environment to contact better connections, because elevated environments always lead to next level associations. Proverbs 13:20 says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So when you get on this next level and you make, you make contact with this next level or these next level associations, what's on them begins to rub off on you. I'm telling you, this is a very true principle. Man, there was a season in my life where my life was filled with all kinds of people, and I thought these people would be in my life for the rest of my life, but I was the smartest guy in the room. And it's like God allowed certain events to happen that just emptied my life of all of these people. A lot of them are great people. Some of them, not so great. But a lot of them were great people, you know what I mean? But they just all kind of exited my life. And I got to a place where I was like, oh, I don't want nothing else to do with just Lisa and I. We're going to rock out. We're going to do life together. I don't want anything else to do with people. I don't need no friends. I don't need none of that. And Holy Spirit said, boy, you better shut your mouth up. The circle I got coming up for you is going to blow your mind. And God started talking to me years ago about intentional connections. And man, God started connecting me with next level associations. Glory to God. I elevated my environments and I started doing things and going places where I would have never gone if I had stayed with those people, because they wouldn't have been able to afford to do some of the stuff I was doing. I had to pay for everybody, so I would just stay down there with them. But once God got those people out of my life, I opened myself up, Lisa and I, up to new experiences, new environments, and I started making new associations. Now I have a whole new circle of friends that I inspire, and they inspire me, that I teach them and they teach me. I pour out, they pour in. Because when you when you elevate your environment, you simultaneously upgrade your associations, the people you will connect to, and what's on them will rub off on you. There are people that I have in my life now that changed the way I think about everything. And once my thinking changed, when I made these next level associations, and my thinking was changed because who I was connected to or who I'm connected to, my life just blew up. And things I thought would be difficult became very easy when my mindset went first. But you see, your mindset is usually dictated by the people who are in your life and influencing you. Can't be around people all day and think that they're not influencing you. And so people are either influencing you down or they are influencing you up. Some people are influencing you to just stay stagnant. But it's yours to determine which direction you want your life to go in. And when you upgrade your environment, open your heart to elevated associations. Listen to what the Bible says. Again, in Proverbs 13:20, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Now, let me show you the practicality in this particular point. Elevated environments leading to next level associations. That's my prayer for you, that God will begin to give you next level associations, that God will eliminate all of these clowns and crowns from your life, that God will get all of the toxic sisterhood out of your life, or the toxic brotherhood, or sometimes the clown in the crown may even be a woman. If you're a brother watching this, get rid of all of this stuff and bring you into elevated, upgraded associations. And the Bible again says, he that walks with upgraded associations shall become like that association or those associations. How does this happen practically? Letter A. It happens through when you are experiencing elevated or next level associations. What goes on is you begin to transform or learn or change through the observation. When you get into next level associations, you just get a chance to see things you've never seen before. And you see, once you see something, you can't unsee it. And once you see something, nobody can make you believe that it doesn't exist, because what? I've seen it. You will learn more in next level associations. You will learn more through observation than you ever will staying in a comfort zone with people that are looking to you for the answers, looking to you for the inspiration. Again, nothing's wrong with that. We should all play that role in certain people's lives. But every queen has to have an elevated, upgraded circle or associations, because you're going to see things, that you've never seen. That's why I really love traveling internationally. It's because I get a chance to see things. I get a chance to see life. I get a chance to see the world and the way people are living. I got to get out of this little bubble. You think about the United States of America, it's just a bubble. United States of America is just a big neighborhood. Quite honestly, I think the whole world is a neighborhood, actually, if you have that kind of mindset. But when I get around other environments, I rub shoulders with people that are doing new things, and I learn more through observation. If you go to 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 3 through 5, here it says, "And Solomon told her," speaking of the Queen of Sheba, "all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen," just been in the environment of Solomon, when she had seen all Solomon's wisdom and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up unto the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. She was left speechless just by what she learned through observation. That's what next level associations will do for you. It will allow you to see things that will change you for the rest of your life and change you for the better. When you embrace next level associations, there are things that you think are impossible now. But when you get around people who are doing it like, oh, it's nothing but a breeze, you will begin to view it as nothing but a breeze. Now, let me just drop this pig here for women relationally, relative to having these or having this next level, or taking these next level associations seriously. The biggest thing for a woman, a single woman, is to upgrade her female associations, especially when you have wife ambition. And again, when I say upgrade, I'm not saying that one person is better than the other. It's just that one person happens to be more of a resource to you and with your ambitions or your vision or your destiny than the other would be. If you are a single woman and you desire to be a wife, you need to have some wives, some successful wives in your circle. You need some happy wives in your crew, because men that would be husbands, men that have a heart to be husbands, are influenced by men who are married. When you are in the circle of wives, you put yourself where husbands grow. You can't just be out here all y'all single riding in the car together. talking about how y'all hate men and all of this, and typing all this stuff on the internet about how you hate men and all men are dogs and ain't no men good and all of that. Babe, you've been around angry single women too long. You need to, ain't nothing wrong with having some single friends. Just make sure they're healthy. Make sure they're healthy. But every single woman, you should have at least one happily married woman. I'm not talking about a woman that just had a wedding. I'm talking about a happily married woman, a woman, who's happy being married, who's married to a man that is happy being married to her. You need that kind of woman in your circle, because that's where her husband is, where you're going to many times find single guys that want to be husbands. Single guys that want to be husbands have friends that are married. They're not typically running with guys that's out here that hate women and talking all this crazy stuff on the internet. No, they're usually chilling with their married friends, and they usually hang out at their married friend's house, and because they ain't got nobody to cook, so they come over for dinner every now and then. And wifey hook them up and all that kind of. They call him wifey sis and all that. Sis, you got anybody for me? But you need some friends in your circle that are happily married. The second thing that happens when you move into the next excuse me, when you move into next level associations, letter A, we said you get a chance to observe certain things. Letter B, you have different level conversations. The jewels of the associations that come from the elevated environment are in the conversations. You know that you're dealing with next level associations, in a whole different environment based on the conversations. Average people search for what's in, listen to this very carefully. My father taught me this. Average people search for what's in another person's pocket or hand. They want something from others. Queen conscious women are always fishing for what's in a person's mind. King conscious men are always fishing for what's in a person's mind. You see, the queen conscious woman, if she can get what's in the head of a great man or a great woman, a great association, she can always reproduce whatever's in their hand. And the only way to withdraw what's in a person's head, come on now, is through conversation. When you go back to Queen Esther, the superpower of queens is in their questions. Queens never squander conversations with people that are on the next level. A queen will always access the content of their success through questions. That's why, queens always ask questions that kings can't answer. Because queens are always, they're trying to withdraw the content from the mind of great people. And if a person's mind is not on par with the queen, she'll soon know it, because the questions will rattle them. Listen to what the Bible says in Proverbs 20:5. Counsel in the heart of a man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. That's what Sheba did. She heard about Solomon and all of his greatness, and she said, I got to go see this dude. And listen to what the Bible says here in 1 Kings 10:1-3. It says, and when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. She withdrew what was in the content of that man's head through questions. She came bringing gifts, letting him know, I don't need nothing that's in your hand, but I gotta get what's in your head. And next level associations, you will learn through observation and you will learn through conversation. You got to ask questions like, what are some strategies? Give me some life hacks. That was something we were talking about today. People that are on the next level can give you life hacks. You don't have to always go through steps 1 through 20. Sometimes you can cut off 10 of those steps when you're dealing with somebody who really knows what they're doing. Well, these are the kinds of conversations you should have. You should be talking about money. You should be talking about investments. You should be talking about God. Because next level associations, are really become almost like a cheat code to life. They give you the answers to life's test. But if you're not smart enough to access it, I hope this is making sense to y'all. Now, main point number 3, I got to hurry up. The purpose of the associations is always for common sense, the information. It's nice. I've been around people that, maybe so inspired by or so enamored with that, I wanted to take a selfie, but that wasn't the point of God bringing me into connection with those people. There's information that those people have that I need. That's why you got to have the conversations. See, the questions are going to be loaded with information. And when you get the information and you keep it, you hold on to the information will transform your life. And listen to what Proverbs 24, 3 through 5 says in the English Standard Version. He says, by wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge or information, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is full of strength, and a man of knowledge enhances his might. The purpose of the next level associations is the information. That's main point number 3. Not that 3, but this one. The purpose of the associations is the information. Queens value information. Queens keep friends and men that they can learn from. I heard this gentleman, which is really the one who kind of sparked me to have this conversation with you. I can't remember his whole name, but he was on Anthony O'Neill's podcast. Anthony was struggling with his name too. He's a Nigerian brother out of Houston. He's a brilliant businessman. He said, the information, and I'm paraphrasing him, the information you get from the next level associations, he said the information goes in and reforms your soul. And that's paraphrasing. It goes in, you take the information in, and what the information does is it forms something in you that works its way out of your life. You take in information and it comes out as actualization. Listen to what Romans 12 and 2 says. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed, watch this, by the renewing of your mind. How do you renew your mind? Information. You get new understanding that goes in. It formulates something in your soul, and it comes back out of your life as actualization. You become the new information. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. But now watch this. The only way the information works is that you have to enforce application. Application is mandatory for information to transform. It's not enough for you to just take in information and never put out application. Information is solidified through the application. If you know what to do and you don't do it, you're as bad as a person that doesn't know. Queens always apply, because knowledge without application is stagnation. So queens do not waste knowledge. You can't sit here year after year after year after year and listen to this stuff I'm teaching you relative to life, relationships, womanhood, men, and never apply it. And here, 5 years later, you still here going through the same stuff. Well, you at that point you move from a victim to a volunteer. If you don't apply knowledge, you volunteering for your whatever your condition is. James chapter 1 verses 22 through 24, it says this: but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. In other words, he's like, you're like a person that looked in the mirror, you see you got stuff all in your eyes, but you look away from the mirror and you still go out in the streets with all this stuff in your eyes because you forgot what you was looking at when you were looking in the mirror. Well, if you get information is like a mirror. But if you don't do something with what you get, you will walk away from the information and stay the same. And then watch this. Main point number 4. The correct information will always produce new experiences. When you do something with the information you get from the association that you got through the conversation in the new environment, point number 4, the correct information will produce new experiences. When we get the information and apply, it consistently produces greater results. When I got around people who are on the next level, and I had the conversations and I had the observations, and I got the information and I applied the information that I applied produced new level experiences. And I was like, wow, I didn't know life could be like this. Well, that's what happens in the life of a woman when you get out of your little pigeon circle and you upgrade and you get new associations and you pay attention and you ask questions and you have the conversation and you get the information and you actually apply it, it produces new experiences. And you say, oh man, I didn't know life could be like this. If you look in Luke chapter 2, verse 52, and this is the English Standard Version, it says, and Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. He increased in what? Wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. In other words, he grew in his knowledge, he grew in his wisdom, and what happened? That growth, that inner growth, gave him favor with God and man. The correct information produced new experiences. You see, when you learn more and you learn the right stuff from the right people and the right associations, it's going to produce new experiences that you never dreamed of. And see, here's the kicker. Once you experience better, it's impossible to settle for less without knowing you're settling. See, once my dad brought me to Chris Steakhouse, He did bring me back to Sizzler, but I knew it wasn't the same thing. Sizzler was just not the same thing. I knew that this was this was a settle because Sizzler was not Chris Steakhouse. Once you have that next level experience, it's like you can't go back to the old levels without realizing and being aware that I'm settling. If you go to Luke chapter 15, speaking of that prodigal son, you know, if you Bible readers, you know the story. Boy, son of a rich man got besides himself, said, give me my inheritance, now I'm out of here. And his father gave him his money, and he took his journey, left his father's house, his father's principles, went into a far country, and just wowed out, just lived a riotous life, the Bible calls it, until he got broke. And he was so broke, he was in the hog pen about to eat the slop that the hogs were eating. And listen to what the Bible says in Luke chapter 15, verses 16 through 19. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. He had already had a higher level experience that said to him, you don't need to settle for this, man. Just go home, humble yourself, just come back home, go back home as an employee. You do better being an employee of your father's than to sit down here and eat this slop. It's because you cannot experience better and then not understand that you're settling when something in life is offered to you that is beneath the experience that you've had. And then number 5. Okay, let's go through them again, and I'm out of here. I promise I'm out of here. Number 1, we said you have to upgrade your environment. Number 2, you got to elevate. Elevated environments always lead to next level associations. In that upgraded environment, you'll have next level associations. Number 3, we said the purpose of the associations is always for the information, not just for Instagram, but for the information. Number 4, the correct information, when applied, will always produce new experiences. And watch this. Number 5 is actualization. Once you have the new experience based on the new information that comes from the next level associations that happen when you upgraded your environment, you've gone through all of those stages, and now you've come to a point where you're having these new experiences. What happens finally is actualization. You actually become the environment. You actually become the associations. You're not just in that environment. You're not just making these associations. You actually become this. It's like you stretch into this and you actually become this. You get around wives as a woman and you actually become a wife in temperament, a wife in thought, a wife in deed. And when you become it, you then attract what is suitable to you or for you. And that's a what? A husband. You actualize. And then every time you want to level up again, because life is lived on levels. Write the vision, make it plain upon tables, one level at a time, that he may run that readeth it. Every time you want to level up, the process starts all over again. If you've leveled up to level 6 from 5, when you've maxed out 6, you're going to have to level up to level 7, which means you're going to have to do what? Upgrade your environment again. Come on now. I have a mentor that when he flies overseas, he flies on Emirates. And he doesn't just fly, he flies in what's the equivalent of almost like a little apartment on the airplane. In this thing, they have showers, they have televisions, they know the personal steward or stewardess. They know your diet, they know what you want to eat, they know when you want to receive it. It's like nothing you've ever seen. Well, I haven't flown like that yet. I fly pretty nice, but I haven't flown like that yet. But I will, because when you're in that environment and you're around those kinds of conversations and you're seeing this stuff, you eventually become that. While other people are like, oh, I can't believe that, I can't see that. I know you can't see it. Pigeons never have the same view as eagles. And so you as a queen, take the limits off of your life. Look around your life and figure out where is it that you've stagnated your life. Take the limits off. And let's watch God bring you into new dimensions. May I pray for you? Father, I thank you for every person that is watching this. May my words sink into their hearts like seed into good soil. In Jesus' name, amen. Now listen, you're there, and I need you to go to my website, sign up for my mailing list, check out all of my online programs. Please, Queenology would be a great one. Oh, let me see, I actually have one with me. If you have not read this book as a woman, Queenology, I need you to go to Amazon and pick this book up right now. This book will change your life as a woman. I promise you it will. Those of you that need counseling, there's a link in the description for BetterHelp Counseling. If you engage that link and check out their counseling services, that link will afford you 10% off of the cost of their counseling. And if you choose to do so, go with them. They will then make a deposit into RC Blake's Ministries for my referring them. Thank you, all of you that have sown into our lives. Lisa and I love you and appreciate you so much. And what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? Well, I guess all I'm missing is we love you. We thank God for you. We look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget, if you've not signed up, if you've not gone over and become a Patreon, do that. In fact, about it, go to Patreon, because if you're in Patreon, you should have some information about our first Zoom call with Lisa and I, where we'll get a chance to talk with you personally. It should be in Patreon now. It's going to happen, if not tonight, it's going to happen this week. And you'll get the link in Patreon, and we look forward to meeting you on the Zoom platform, all of our Patreon family. Well, I love you. I thank God for you. Hey, you're on top, you're going high. God has more in store for you. So guess what? We will see you at the top. God bless you. Until next time.
We here at RC Blake's Ministries want to thank you for spending this time with us today. RC and Lisa are always honored to have you with us. Don't forget to reach out to us by visiting our website at www.rcblakes.com. While you're there, you may join our mailing list and receive a free download of The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision by RC Blakes. Also look at all of the online programs by RC. You may find all books written by RC and Lisa. Once again, all of us here at RC Blake's Ministries want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And as we always say, see you at the top.